Alright guys, so the first thing I have here is the motherboard. I'm going to go ahead and unbox this now. So I have my trusty knife. This is how Scan sent it to me, so I'm assuming I don't know why they would have opened it beforehand, but this is what I got from them. There we go. Nice fresh motherboard. Put this to one side. Let's see what we have here. Oh, we do have a SATA cable actually. So I was saying earlier that some motherboards, they send you a SATA cable, and here's one in the box. I'm not going to be using the IO shield because this is not going to be in a traditional case, so there's no need for this. I'm going to put all of this stuff one side. Won't need that for a while. And let's have a look at our nice fresh motherboard. And there we go. So as I've said before, one of the main reasons I chose this motherboard was the 3 full-size PCI Express slots, which means I can plug each of my 3060s directly into here and I shouldn't have an issue. I'm going to be using the 3060 hack to actually mine whatever coins I can mine. Ethereum is going to be the main one, maybe Raven. Bitcoin, probably not going to touch other than just for testing purposes, but that's one of the main reasons. This does support up to 9th gen. This does support up to 9th gen processors. So as I've said, I've got the 9400F. That's a Core i5. Yeah, there we go. We have 4 SATA or SATA ports here, 4 memory modules, obviously the CPU area here, main power supply connector, USB ports and other ports that are linked all over. What else do we have? Let's look at the IO actually. I never looked at the IO before. So we have 2, 4, 6 USB 3 ports. Oh, an HDMI coming directly from here. However, the 9400F, which is the one I have, the i5, does not have onboard graphics, though this shouldn't work essentially. I'm gonna have to use a graphics card. Basic sound card, Ethernet port, I do believe that's Gigabit Ethernet, and that is it. Alright, so for this part, I'm gonna do my processor onto the motherboard and potentially attach the cooler as well. So here, brand new 9400F Core i5. Here we go. Let me unlock it, well, open it. I actually didn't know that all Intel coolers come with the paste pre-applied. So I actually bought paste to apply to it. That's what I was using earlier to point out the latches, well not the latches, sorry, the grooves on the CPU. However, that's not needed anymore, so I could potentially return this. I bought it from Amazon, so that's £6 less there. So to install the CPU, first things I like to do, take the cables out. That's number one. After you take the cables out, the next thing you're gonna want to do is find where the CPU fan connector is. Now I'm going to use my, oh, I took off some of the paste there with me. I'll put some back on. I'm going to use my flashlight here. And when you look around, you will see a lot of fan connectors with 4 slots that will work with this. They will plug in fine. However, you need to look for the one that says CPU fan, because the rest of them won't have all the features that's needed. So for me, on this motherboard, in this orientation, the CPU fan is actually here at the end. Hopefully you guys can see that clearly. So again, the CPU fan is just here. So for me, maybe I might want to turn the CPU cooler this way instead of another way, so the fan can get, so the plug can be plugged in easier to the fan. So to install that, normally all you have to do is simply line the holes up and push these pins down. And when you push them down, you should hear a click. When you hear the click, that means it's been connected to the motherboard. Let me go ahead and try that now. Hopefully I don't break anything. So line them up first. All lined up, cool, cool. And then should just push down. 1, 2. All right, so now we have the CPU cooler installed. None of these are wobbly. They all seem to be in quite firmly. Yep. Simply gonna plug my CPU fan header in and only use the one that says CPU fan. If you use the others, as I've said before, you won't get all the same functionality. You probably won't get the same amount of power going to it, because the CPU fan in some cases is probably going to be much faster and in turn much more power hungry than the traditional case fans around the case. All right, so we do actually have an M.2 slot here. If I had known, if I had checked properly, I would have probably gone for M.2 if I was going to be using this for anything other than mining. But simply because this is going to be a bog standard mining PC, I'm going to just use a normal SATA one. So I've got more than enough SATA, however you say it, enough SATA ports around here. So I will not be using M.2, even though I do have one laying about the place. I'll stick to SATA. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to work on is putting in the RAM. As I said, this is DDR4 2666. One really weird thing they've done, they've put the warranty sticker on the outside of the plastic and not on the RAM itself. It's a bit weird, but hey, to each their own, I guess. There we go. We have our RAM. So normally if you're going to be doing like a gaming PC or a video editing rig, you would tend to go for something, you would always tend to go for dual channel RAM, and you try to go for faster RAM. This is a bit old. 2666 is a couple years old at this, well, loads of years old at this point. So not the fastest RAM, but for what we're going to be doing is going to be perfectly fine. And now to actually put it in, try and line up that slit in the middle there, the slit in the middle on the board. I actually didn't check which one of these was slot 0 or slot 1, however you want to say it. So for me, I'm just going to just wing this one. I'm going to put it in the first one here, okay? So I pull those down just to show you guys how to open the RAM slots. So I'm going to close them again. And to open a RAM slot, simply push down on that one, pull down on that one, and the RAM slot should just open up. Now, again, I line it up like so. And when you push down, you should click. You should hear a click. There we go. One click on one side, one click on the other side, and sometimes you just have to pull these in a bit, but normally you don't. So that's it. CPU installed, CPU fan installed, and RAM installed as well. I should have probably left some of this. Was there any? No, I couldn't have. That's okay. Let me just tuck that away somewhere there. The next thing I can probably put in, no, I'll screw this onto the case right now, so I'll be right back. Alright, so before I go any further, I decided it was best to actually do the graphics cards before I finish wiring up the power supply, because I need to know exactly what each of these graphics cards will need. So I'm going to go ahead and unbox them now. Very light, low profile. So the two smaller cards will look exactly like this, and the larger one will be the dual fan design, I'm presuming. So for this one, we need just a single 8-pin connector. So that's actually really good. You don't need loads of cables. So I'm going to put this one back on this anti-static bag. Put this to one side. There we go. Alright guys, so here's the mining rig. 1000 watt Corsair RM 1000X, I believe. That motherboard is a Gigabyte Z390D. The PCI Express slots should be 1644, but in the motherboard BIOS settings, there's an option for 884. So I'm going to go ahead and try that and put another 3060 in the second slot there. This is the 3060 from Palette. Only a single fan design, very low powered. Temperatures have been very good so far. It hasn't exceeded 60% roughly. 60 degrees. That's the Core i5 9400F. It has 24 PCI Express lanes. So in theory, I'm gonna do a 3060, which is there, another 3060 beside that, and I'm gonna do a 3070 somewhere else, and that should be my 24 PCI Express lanes. However, I can move the 3070 over to any one of the PCI Express ×1 lanes on a riser, right? But that will not work for the 3060 because Nvidia has nerfed it. So with the driver, you have to have it in a ×8 lane, not a ×1 or a ×4. So this is going to be a test to see if this motherboard actually works ×8, ×8, ×4 in the PCI Express slots. So again, that's going to be ×8. I've switched it already, so this should be ×8 and this should be ×4. So let's try that. Alright, so here we are in my BIOS settings. This is the BIOS configuration support page. There we have at the top PCI Express 16. And what that will do, that will automatically make should automatically make PCI 1 16, PCI 2 would be 4, and PCI 3 would also be 4. Now if we do that second one, it should make it then, because we have a total of 24 PCI Express lanes, it should make it 8, 8, and the last one can be 4. Because this board doesn't support all 3 8s. Then that last one just lowers the speed, PCI Express 884. And then that way, you can actually use the PCI Express 1 slots to put as many things as can fit, really. Alright, so hopefully you can see that there. It says PCI Express 16. However, this one is running at 8, this one's running at 4. So a few things have happened. As you guys might have noticed in that last section, the cards were only running at 16 and 4. For some reason, even though I changed the BIOS configuration to 8x8, they just didn't work in 8x8. So what that now means is that I have to change the motherboard to try and get it to work in 8x8. Yeah, so that's it. So I'm going to pause the video here. I'm going to stop this system build here. I'm going to leave it mining on one card so that I don't waste any electric, because when I mine on one card, I get 45, 46 megahash. If I mine on both cards, then both of them get nerfed for some reason. So I only get about 30 megahash on both of them. So I'm going to mine on one, get the new motherboard, and then come back to the new build and show you guys the update. All right, peace.